Welcome back to Ghost Toast. This is episode 2. I'm a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter of more than 30 years. I don't really do investigations anymore, so I'm retired. So that's why I started this channel. Now, today's episode is talking about strange, anomalous ghost photographs. Now, with the advent of everyone having a good camera on their phone, there's a lot more of these at the moment floating around. So I've written 4 books on the subject. So lots of people have asked for my advice for television, radio shows and things like that. Now, the 3 photographs I'm going to talk about today, I'll describe them each in detail, when they were taken and what I believe is going on in these photographs. So the first photograph is my daughter Becky, and she was on holiday. I think it was in Marmaris in Turkey. We're talking about 6 or 7 years ago. And she was on the balcony. They were about to go out, her and her friend decided to take a photo of Becky because she was all dressed up nice before she was going out. I think there was a nice view behind her, so they thought, yeah, we'll snap a quick photograph. And Becky was posing to have the picture taken. They took the picture, and then they realised that it was very, very strange. There seemed to be almost like 2 versions of Becky. There was the nice, pretty Becky, but then there was this other kind of Becky that was almost coming out of the Becky. It was almost like a doppelganger type thing, but it didn't look anything like Becky. So some people have seen the photo and said, oh, it's a double exposure or she's moved or whatever, but she swore she didn't move at all. And it was the only photo on the whole holiday that came out really strange. Now, they showed the photograph that night, I think it was, to a photographer in the hotel, and a Turkish photographer. Now, in Arabic culture, they talk about jinns, which is D-J-I-N-N, which is a type of evil ghost or entity that can follow someone around and be very destructive and all of that. Now, they showed the picture to the photographer, and he said, Djinn, Djinn, and he didn't like it. He didn't like the picture at all. And my daughter doesn't like it. She said, oh, Mum, I really don't like it, but I've kept it to put in one of my books as obviously an example, because I believe it is something that was in that hotel possibly, or attached to Becky at that time. So that's the first photograph, which is a bit strange. Now the second photograph I'm going to talk about was taken about 4 years ago in Rhodes in Greece. Now, I just lost my mum, and I was given evidence in a court case when I came back from the holiday, so I was a bit stressed and upset, obviously, about everything. And just near our hotel, there was a little church, and it was tiny. It was so small. It was only about the size of a normal house, but it was really pretty, and it had got a donation box, and it got candles that you could light to say a prayer. So every day, when we went for a little walk into the town, we would go into the church, light a candle, say a prayer, and we only ever took 1 photograph in there. The 1 photograph that we took, and it was such a lovely atmosphere in there, but the 1 photograph that we took seems to show angelic figures swirling around, lots and lots of angelic figures, several ones. And I took that to mean a good sign, that someone was looking out for me, that my mum was okay, and everything was, I took that to be a really good sign. Now, in most religions and cultures like Christianity and Islam, they talk about angelic beings being around us, helping us and things like that. And I've always believed that we have our angels around us, helping us in times of need. So that photograph to me was a very, very positive one. Now, the third photograph, again, concerns my daughter Becky, who actually works in healthcare. She works in a local hospital trust looking after people on dialysis. And throughout the pandemic, she was having to work through that, a bit scary times for people, not knowing what was going to happen and whatever. And just before it was all sort of kicked off, she went to a park near to the flat where she was living, and she took a photograph because it was a lovely day, and she took a picture of the trees and everything. The sun was out. Now in the photograph there appears to be like a purple kind of winged creature, angel, whatever you'd like to call it. So I looked it up. I said to Becky, well, that's a sign someone's looking out for you. You'll be okay, you know. You're going through all this worry with dealing with really poorly people. We've got this coronavirus outbreak, which is, you know, scary times for us all. The last time there was something like this was really the 1918 flu epidemic, which swept around the world. So it's kind of like a bit of an unknown quantity for all of us. There's not many survivors from that time. Anyway, she showed me the photograph and I looked it up, and there's an angel, Zaphael, and he is purple with purple wings. So I took that again to be a good sign that someone was looking out for Becky, that she, you know, that she was gonna be okay and everything would be all right. So these are just the 3 photographs from my own personal collection. I've got many other photographs which I will put into videos, and also I've got quite a lot of footage of ghost hunting outings and places that I've been to. So it's always good if you sense something strange or see something to take a picture of it, get a record of it, because now we've got our cameras on us 24/7, so it's so much easier to get things. And what I have found over the 30 years that I've been investigating is a lot of the time we take a picture and we don't see anything strange with our naked eye, but the camera picks it up. Now the camera has, you know, doesn't differentiate, sees different spectrums of light, picks up different frequencies. So the camera often sees what the eye doesn't. So it's always worth taking those pictures. So yeah, these are 3 favourite pictures of mine, and I think they've got interesting stories attached to them. Now in the next video that I'm going to do, what I'm going to say is 7 signs that your house is haunted. And what I'll give you is 7 examples from my own haunted houses that I've lived in, which is 3, and also cases that I've investigated with each 7 principles. And if anyone's suffering through a haunting, they can comment. Please like and subscribe. This is Ghost Host, Natalie Osborne Thomason. Right, if you want to follow me on Twitter, there's my Twitter. And if you want to like and subscribe, tell your friends, and comment if you've got any interesting cases, stories that you've been through yourself, because this is a subject. I'm not just going to be covering ghosts and hauntings, by the way. I'm going to be covering all kinds of paranormal things. So this is just the beginning. We'll start with ghosts and branch off into other areas. So thank you for watching. This is Ghost Host Natalie Osborne Thomason.